Hello, everybody, and welcome to 38 Weeks to Go, your weekly podcast about fantasy football. Last time out, we discussed what fantasy football is and how to play it. Since that episode, there have been a few changes, and I thought I would just make an additional episode to talk about what the new changes are and what to expect this coming season. So let's get into it. The first thing is defensive contributions. Last time out, I had told you how this game is unfair to defensive-oriented players. Well, for this season, they have introduced something they call defensive contributions. Now, in order for a player to benefit from this, they need to get a combined total of 10 clearances, blocks, interceptions, and tackles. This means that as long as you have a minimum of 10 of either of those things combined, for example, you could get 2 blocks, 5 interceptions, and 3 tackles, and you get 10. Your defensive player will get 10 points. These points are also available to midfielders and forward players. However, for them to get the 2 points, they need to get a total of 12 defensive contributions. And in this way, you can see it is a stat that will favor defenders over the rest of the pitch. And this should provide a shift in mindset, because now it means that you don't have to think about wing backs as the only defensive players. If you have a particularly skillful defender or one who wins a lot, like let's say Moises Caicedo, or maybe one of the Forest players last season, you would have done well this coming season. And in this way, the Makelele's of the world will be rewarded. Just to give you an idea of who the best players in terms of defensive contributions were last season, let me read you a list. James Tarkowski, he got 44 points. Caicedo, 42 points. Bednarek, 40 points. Huijsen, 38. Murillo, that's the Nottingham Forest player I was thinking of, 38. Elliot Anderson, 36. João Gomes, 36. Idrissa Gueye, 36. Faish, 34. And Norgard, 34. If this is confusing you a bit, think of it this way. You know how a goalkeeper gets a point for every 3 saves they make? This is the equivalent of that for defensive midfielders and defenders. For forwards, how it will count for them is if they get ball recovery. You know, when forward players press their defenders, if they manage to get the ball off of them, that is considered a ball recovery. So, just in case you weren't paying attention, in case you're looking for low-hanging fruit, I would say Tarkowski, Murillo, Braithwaite, Collins, Kilman are the top defenders from last season who are still in the Premier League. So you could look at them. And also note that if you pick the right defender from a promoted team, that person could be a differential. Last season, the top 5 defenders were Vardiol, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Milenkovic, Van Dijk, and Munoz from Crystal Palace. If you add the defensive contributions, the top 5 are Milenkovic number 1, Murillo number 2, Van Dijk number 3, Vardiol number 4, and Collins number 5. This is the impact defensive contributions are going to have. And if you've noticed, it completely nullified the wing backs. When it comes to midfielders, the biggest beneficiaries of this compared to last season would be Anderson, Norgard, and Caicedo. And I would recommend you to look into these players just to have a boost for this season. Moving on. Now, for this coming season, we're going to have 2 sets of chips, which means that you will have chips for the first half of the season and chips for the second half of the season. This means that you have to strategize how you're going to use all your chips and make sure you use them before time runs out. To be specific, you will have a wild card, a free hit, triple captain, and bench boost. So you have 8 of those, 4 for the first half of the season and 4 for the second half of the season. And they have confirmed that these will expire on the 30th of December. Last season, I used my triple captain on the last game of the season, which worked out well. Thank you, Bowen. But this time I get to use it twice, and now I have to be strategic about it. And I know a lot of you, like me, keep the free hit for the double game weeks or the void weeks. And now you get to have two. So this one is all about strategic planning, looking at the schedule and figuring out when to use them. And my recommendation for you would be to use, like, for example, your triple captain against a promoted side, the side that will have the weakest defense. It will become clear after 2 or 3 weeks. And when that happens, use it on maybe Haaland or Salah. Haaland tends to start the season well, so that wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, moving on, they have added something which they are calling Elite Global Leagues. There are 2 Elite Global Leagues. One for the managers who finished in the top 1% in world rankings last season, and then 2 for the managers who finished in the top 10%. Are any of you one of those people? If you are, well, congratulations to you. You are a member of an exclusive club. In case you're not sure whether you qualify, the top 1% means you are one of the 114,000 people in the Premier League globally. In the top 10%, it means you are one of the 1,143,193 top performers last year. If you're not one of those, you will not be playing in that competition. And these leagues will be found in the General League section. And if you happen to win one of those leagues, you will get a lot of merch from Puma. You'll get t-shirts, an EA Sports FC game, FPL bundle, and FPL certificate from the Premier League. So that might be motivation for you to do better this season. Moving on, another change is they have modified the assist rules. Previously, an assist was defined as a pass from the person before the goal scorer scores. Or one could say that assists are given to the player from the goal scoring team who had the final touch before the goal scorer. Previously, if somebody passed and it did not go to the right person for the goal, he was not given an assist. So now, if you pass the ball and let's say it's deflected and it makes its way to the goal scorer, the person who made the pass that was deflected will receive the assist. Before, the deflection would have taken precedence. Now, it will be ignored. The limitation to this is that only one deflection. If, let's say, a person crosses in the box and it's deflected by maybe 2 people and then meets the goal scorer, that will not count as an assist. There are no assists for back passes or if the goalkeeper gets control of the ball and then loses control of the ball. Now, having said that, there is another caveat. Let's say your player is taking a free kick and then they cross the ball into the box and then that ball is headed out and then a long shot is scored by your goal scorer. That will not count as an assist. Now, if you are the last player before a handball occurs in the box, you will get the penalty and you will get the assist. Last season, it had to be a forced handball, but now it can even be by mistake, and the assist will go to whoever had the pass before the handball. Another one, which is probably not important, is team badges. Now, the FPL have a new partnership with Adobe, the makers of Photoshop. Now, thanks to the AI assistant in Firefly, you can use generative AI to make your team badge. That is something new. That's all I have to say about that. Have fun, explore the tool. In terms of bonus, there have been a few changes to how bonus is calculated. And this is how they look. If there's a tie for first place, players 1 and 2 will receive 3 points each, and the third player will receive 1 point. If there is a tie for second place, player 1 will receive 3, and players 2 and 3 will receive 2 points each. If there's a tie for third place, player 1 will receive 3 points, player 2 will receive 2 points, and players 3 and 4 will receive 1 point each. That feels the same as last season. Now, for goalkeepers, one of the points they get is they get 2 points if they make 3 saves. Now, it's going to be possible for them to get 3 points, and this is how it will be determined. If the goalkeeper makes saves, the 3 saves from inside the box, he will get 3 points for those saves. However, if those shots are from outside the box, they will only get 2 points. Let me be clear. What I'm talking about is bonus system points, not the actual points, but bonus system points. Now, let me carry on. Goal line clearances. Last season, if a goalkeeper made a goal line clearance, he would get 3 points. Now, if he makes a goal line clearance, this will be a reward of 9 points, which will mean that it might be easier for goalkeepers to earn bonus points. There is a new penalty goals scored metric, which has been introduced to differentiate from other goals scored. A player will earn 12 points for scoring a penalty, regardless of his position. In previous fantasy seasons, a midfielder would earn 18 points and a forward would earn 24 points. And remember, these are bonus point system points, not the regular points. And now it has been flattened. It is 12 for everybody. And this is why if your player scored a penalty, it would feel like they almost immediately got bonus points. In order to improve the possibility of defenders earning more in fantasy, they have changed how bonus points will be won by defenders. There is something now which they're calling tackles won, which means if your defender wins tackles, they get 2 bonus points. Before, what would happen, there would be a tackles won minus tackles lost feature. And now that has been simplified to just tackles won. And when they win the tackles, they will be awarded bonus points. And remember, I'm talking about points that will go towards the bonus, not the actual points. I know it's confusing, but I'm hoping it makes sense. Now, something that is going to be particularly unique to this season and maybe all the Africa Cup seasons moving forward is they're going to give us 5 transfers for the Africa Cup of Nations. And just so you know, AFCON will happen through game week 17 to game week 22. Now, to be clear, when I say 5, I mean that if you have 1 transfer, they will add you 4. If you have 5, you will be added nothing. If you have 0 in game week 16, from game week 17, you'll have 5 free transfers. So use this information to plan strategically as well. And just as we're talking about strategy, of course, this means unless Salah gets injured, you know he will be going for Africa Cup, which means that if you time it well, by the time December 30th comes, you could use your wildcard to bring in Salah and maybe Mbumo or Ait Nouri or whoever your other African players will be, Amad Diallo. So you could use your wildcard to bring them back into your team because you won't be given a wildcard for that. So plan your chips wisely. And with that, you are now caught up with all the new changes to fantasy this season. I hope you're making and remaking your team as many times as you can before you're comfortable. Until the next time, bye bye. Have a great day.